Dale.
What's going on, San Angelo? Like he said, my name is Ryan Dale. I'm so happy to be here and not in a classroom, right? I think I scared that one kid off, my bad. But I'm so happy because it's great to talk to people and not have someone in the front row eating glue. You know what I mean? Like you said, I am a teacher, and I use my stage name as Ryan Dale. And they're like, Ryan, aren't you afraid of being fired for saying something crazy up here? And I tell them, no, I'm not sure if you've heard this, but there's a teacher shortage. So I think I'm good. Anyone in the crowd, a teacher, make some noise like you missed summer. Told you, teacher shortage. So the thing is being a teacher, I don't think I'm gonna be, fired for saying anything crazy. There's also a substitute shortage. Y'all hear about the substitute shortage? But I think I know why. It's because subs, I see them the word sub means below, right? They're clearly not doms. We get that, right? But I feel like the reason why they're so disrespected is because I see subs like I see side chicks, okay? Hear me out. If you don't know a side chick, the one you cheat on with. But hear me out. The reason why is because they get called up last minute. And the real person can't be here. We need a warm body, be disrespected, and then go on to the next teacher that needs you, right? And they're like, Ryan, how do you say that joke? Don't you have morals? I said, there's no admin in here, is there? All right, is there any admin in here? Make some noise. Oh, thank God. My principal told me it was coming. No, I'm kidding. A lot of times when I tell people I'm a teacher, they're like, oh, what high school? And I'm a little lower. And they're like, middle school. And I'm like, fuck no. I call middle school mental school. I couldn't do it. I don't have the money for therapy either, right? The thing too is, so I'm an elementary school teacher, so clearly I'm a big man on campus. Okay, I know what you're thinking. There are some pretty big fifth graders out there, okay? They're getting big, all right? Being a teacher, it's been really, really tough this week. And y'all enjoying y'all's week back? Silence, that's what I was thinking. I like to think of the first day of school. It reminds me a lot of a Black Friday sale, right? A bunch of kids running you over and, don't know where they're going. Trying to take the best seat. Or trying to get the coolest pencil, come on. And the thing too is I wish it was a Black Friday because I would like to get time and a half, right? The thing is I'm a teacher and it's really hard to flex like that because they all know I'm broke. My teacher salary is online, you can look it up. It's not much. So I'm so broke guys, I started working the corner lately. Okay? Every morning and afternoon, I'm talking about crosswalk by the way. I really enjoy it. I tell my students, y'all ever played a game called Frogger before? And I'm like, they're going 20 miles an hour, you can't die, right? Oh, that's too dark, all right. These are all jokes, by the way. But you know what's crazy though is the one thing about being a teacher and I'm talking to other teachers is I feel like I'm talking about my prison sentence, right? I've been teaching for 10 years, going on life, right? And the reason why I say that too is because both my parents are retired teachers. I'm like, did y'all get out on good behavior? And can I make some noise? My parents actually did come to the show, so if you can make some noise for my parents over here. You can blame them for anything that, you can blame them for this disappointment you see on stage. Like I said, the thing about teaching that I hate right now are the consequences, right? The consequences that get tough. And the worst consequence is detention, or why the hell do I have to stay here longer? Right? It's stupid. It's bullshit. And so consequences are hard. And these kids, they say the wildest things, right? I had a student come up to me, a kindergartner come up to me on the first day of school. She came up to me and she said, that girl over there called me the C word. And I was like, see you next Tuesday? That's a vocabulary for a kindergartner, right? And that little girl that she pointed to ran over and said, bitch doesn't start with C, bitch doesn't start with C. And I was like, it doesn't start with C. Let's go to the alphabet chart over here, right? You see the letter B, what does the letter B make? Bitch. Right? And little girl's like, I know I might not know that, but I'm really good at math. I'm really good at counting. And I was like, how high can you count to? She got to the 60s, right? She's like 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. And then she just stopped. And I was like, what's after 68? And she said, mouthwash.
Hey.
I was like, dang. This kid's kindergarten, they're crazy, guys, I'm telling you. It is hard, consequences are a grind. You don't have to consequence them if you can motivate these kids. And I was like, that's easy, right? Hell no. It's hard to motivate these younger kids. The thing is one time I tried to make a motivational speech, and I was trying to give them, I was like telling them, Texas is ranked 38th in education right now. We can represent Texas a lot better, right? And I had a kid in the back before I could, he goes, who's 39th? And before I could answer that kid, another kid goes, who's 3010th? I'm like, Texas, we're trending towards 3010th right now. I guess it's my fault. I guess it's my fault. I don't know. It's the positive spin put on that is I always tell them we got a long way to go. All right, we got a long way to go. Another thing that doesn't motivate them, like it's being hard to motivate them at this younger age, is grades, right? Like grades matter, and kindergarten, first, like really? Like there's no Harvard out there that's like, you're not accepted. You're fucking around too much in 3rd grade. There's no one out there that does that, right? And I personally, I hate grading. I really, really do. So what I did was I made a drinking game out of it.
Oh, no.
Wouldn't recommend. What I did was every time I failed a kid, I took a shot. I got through first period and I woke up on the floor the next day not knowing where I was. Right? And it's real easy to pass my class. You just have to have a pulse and not be a complete asshole. And they're like, Ryan, like, do you fail kids? And I said, yeah, there's a lot of assholes. Right? Oh, yeah, that's kind of rough, yeah. I get it. These are jokes, by the way. I'm not failing all my students or anything, chill out. No, but then they're like, so, I hate grading so much, but I was like, you know what, Ryan, I have a great idea. I'm going to let these students grade me. Bad choice. Don't do it. When I found out, I was like, I told them, I said, it's going to be anonymous. You don't have to put your name. Half these kids, I could barely get them to put their name on their paper, but they wanted to put their name on this.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can't even get them to write their name, but now they want to write a 2-paragraph how I suck. I guess the motivation wasn't there, right? So the thing too about motivation, so the first day of school, I like to see what my classes know, right? So I get them to draw a picture, and I teach a lot of science. Any science nerds out there? Make some noise? Okay. Only me.
Don't die.
Alright. But no, so I was seeing what they do. So I asked them, I said, I need you to draw a picture of what you know. And I'm walking around my class, and I see a kid, and it looks like he's drawing a huge penis. And I'm like, oh my God. But it was one of those things where if I shine light on it, people will notice. I was like, no, Ryan, just ignore it. Just keep walking. Right? And then it was time to share, right? And I was trying to pick every student but this one. But this kid was like falling out of his chair, and I was like, all right, come on up here. He shows a picture to the class, and some of the students started laughing. And I was like, oh my gosh. She's like, why are y'all laughing? This is a thermometer. And I was like, okay, but why is there 2 thermometers, and why is this one over here so small? And he said, it's because it's cold. And I was like, that is science. He's getting ahead of his time. You know what I mean? So the thing too is being elementary is a lot of fun, but being the only male on campus is pretty tough. And when I'm doing the first day of school, getting to know them, I've always had to tell them I'm single, but this year I'm not. So if I get some round of applause for that. I promise she's real. Okay, she is real. I gotta tell my students that too. But the thing is before I had that, I had to make up excuses on why I was single, and I was running out, so I'm glad I'm not anymore. But one of my things was I told them, I said, I'm too ugly to have a girlfriend, and they're like, yeah, we see it. Oh. And I was like, oh, that's harsh. Being honest, I guess. And then when I told them also, I said, you know what, I'm too poor to afford a girlfriend. I can't afford a girlfriend. And I taught 3rd grade when I did this, and I taught 5th grade, and I got 2 different responses, right? These 3rd graders, they take things very literal. So I had a student go behind my back and open up a GoFundMe for me. You know how embarrassing that parent conference was? But when I looked at the page, everything was spelled grammatically correct and everything. I was like, he's learning something. Right?
Yeah.
Right? And the most embarrassing part about that story was my mother was the biggest donator.
Oh.
But the thing is that money goes fast when you have a drinking problem, so didn't last long. When I told this to my fifth graders, they had a different response. Their response was, I had a kid raise his hand. He's one of those kids that's like a kid, a wild card, don't call on, you know what I'm talking about? Like that one kid, oh yeah, that kid. And so I was like, you know what? Let's see what he got to say, whatever. He raises his hand, he says, I know you said you're too poor, but my mom is single, she thinks you're cute and makes a really good breakfast. And I said, whoa, you don't share that out loud? I'll have a parent conference with her later. Right?
Luta.
I don't push my students' parents. What do they think? Do you think I'm going to provide for them or something? Come on. They're teaching, right? No, the thing too is, so my students, they like to roast me a lot, right? But they do gas me up as well. And one place they gas me up is the playground, right? I get to play recess with my students, and it turns out I'm really good at football with third graders. I lost the shit out of these little kids. I'll just stiff on them, I'll, whatever, and I'm like, go into the nurse, you know where it is, you don't need a pass, they know where you're coming from, they'll give you a nice back, you'll be right back out here, right? And growing up, my dad was a football coach, so clearly a huge disappointment up here. But I wish my dad could see me on the playground because I am owning the shit out of these kids. He might be proud of me. Right? And the thing is I'm always quarterback for him, right? Clearly because I'm the best athlete. Yeah. Right? And there's always that one kid that never gets the ball thrown to him, ever. And that used to be me back in the day. So I was like, I'm gonna change this kid's life. I'm gonna throw him the ball. Bad choice. What I did was I threw a perfect spiral right to his hands, and clearly a little too hard to his hands. What happened was it broke his thumb out of place, and then he looked at me like he committed a crime, and I stared back at him and I said, should have caught it. And then I had to walk this crying kid to the nurse, and I had to tell his parents, I'm sorry, but your son dropped the ball. He really dropped the ball. Right? And then he got a cast, and I signed it, and I said, catch it next time. Right? I feel like sometimes, as teachers and parents and things as well, I feel like we gas kids up a little bit too much sometimes, right? I had a kid come up to me, and he was like, I want to be an astronaut one day. And I was like, let's work on tying our shoes first. Right? Baby steps. I don't want you up on the moon tripping, right? And that teacher shortage that I talked about earlier is I don't think it's getting any better, guys. I don't think it's like teaching is a new thing because I talk to my students all the time, like, what do you want to be when you're older? And I get two responses. They want to be a game Twitch streamer or a TikTok influencer. And I'm like, that's just what this world needs. Yeah. Right? And then I had one student come up to me and he was like, I want to be a teacher just like you. And I said, oh my gosh, that warms my heart. But I said, what you should do is you should aim your goals a little bit higher, and then when you miss those goals, become a teacher. I'm not talking about personal experience, it's just like good advice to give them, right? I said, aim your goals high, right? The thing too about being a quarterback for him is a lot of fun. I always tell my students that I'm a lot like Tom Brady. And they're like, you're not like Tom Brady. You don't have the ex-wife, the Super Bowl rings, the millions of dollars. And I said, no, I don't have any of that. But one thing that I do have is I'm playing football with people that are 20 years younger than me, and I'm winning. And I've never lost a game. I have all the records. It also helps that I'm ref. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So, the thing too about being a teacher, I feel like we get a lot of heat from the rap community, right? Like, I hate my teacher said I couldn't be shit, stuff like that. But I've never seen a teacher that had a class lined up and was like, you're gonna make it straight to jail. You know what I mean? Like, I've never seen them do that kind of stuff, right? Kindergarten, come on, you gotta wait till they're at least 5th grade to do that. That's what I say. The thing too is I really do enjoy being a teacher, but it's a lot more fun during the summer, right? I miss summer so much. I always tell myself I'm gonna get a second job, and I never do. You consider this a job, but I'm 0 for 2 in the money department. Alright? But I really appreciate y'all listening to my jokes. My name is Ryan Dale. Thank y'all so much for having me. If y'all do me a favor and follow me on my social media, so my mom over here is not my only follower, I appreciate it. She's starting to piss me off. I'm about to block her, guys, because my class sees that she likes all my stuff. And I'm like, I do have fans, and they're like, your mom doesn't count. I said, yes, it does. But anyways, thank y'all so much. I'm Ryan Dale. Y'all have a great night.